Man, oh man, what a day. Welcome everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. And of course, I'm going to go through everything that happened today with the greatest president ever, Donald Trump, and this grifter, Zelensky. And, President Trump and the man who's going to be our second MAGA president, Zelensky, did some incredible stuff today. There's no doubt about it. And I am so proud of President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. And this is it. Nothing like this has ever been seen before. The closest thing to this that's ever been seen is when Reagan walked out of the Reykjavik Island or Iceland summit with Gorbachev during the Cold War. I'm sure a lot of people are going to mention that, but this is bigger than that, because when President Reagan walked out of the summit in Iceland, Reykjavik, Iceland, with Gorbachev, I remember the Democrats were having freakouts. They wanted to impeach President Reagan over that. We didn't see it. All we saw was Reagan walk out. And then later, Gorbachev came back to the table and he went back in. What's going to happen here with Zelensky, I don't know. Nobody really knows. A couple of things could happen. Zelensky could get back on the United States plane that he flew on to the United States and go back to Ukraine. He was kicked out of the White House by the president and J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State. President Trump kicked Zelensky out of the White House. He could come back to the White House and beg for forgiveness, or the Ukrainians could remove him as their president and have a new president that wants peace back into the White House, another president. I've heard there's a general over there that's eyeing being president of Ukraine after Zelensky. But regardless, America is back. The American people are fed up with what's going on. None of us want to see what happening, what's going on in Ukraine to continue. We're tired of paying for it. I'm going to go through the audio. I'm going to play the whole thing in just a moment and take your calls. If you're watching live, the number to call in is pinned in the chat, 888-465-2631. We'll take your calls as well. But I want to go through this. This is what we mean by making America great again. We are number one in the world economically and militarily. America's back. We've had a bunch of corrupt gangsters who were using this proxy war we're fighting with Russia as a way to get rich and pay off their donors and everything else, okay? And you're going to hear a lot of Democrats, a lot of media people, a lot of warmongers like Liz Cheney. She's already on X making comments that are telling us that Donald Trump did everything wrong. They said that about Ronald Reagan when he walked out on Gorbachev in Iceland, and boom, that led to the collapse of the Soviet Union, all right? So no, President Trump did the right thing here. Now let's go through this. This was a beautiful thing, and we'll talk about it. This is amazing. When I saw this today, I have never been so proud. Have you? I mean, this is just amazing. Here we have it. Let's go.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?"
Yeah, this was a reporter from Poland asked this question. He wants Trump to attack Putin.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world.
That's
and
right.
I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace And the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy.
Right there. There's our second MAGA president right there, J.D. Vance. I mean, did J.D. Vance not just blow your minds away at how great he was today? This was beautiful. Beautiful. I've never seen a vice president act like this. Have you? No.
We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Here we go.
he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was,
he killed.
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly
but-
right.
Yes, but during
Exactly.
2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him.
You know, this war, this idiotic war that should never have happened has been going on so long. Zelensky has like learned to speak English. When this first started, he could hardly speak English. Now he's speaking he's got a Transylvanian kind of Dracula kind of accent. I guess that's the Ukrainian accent. But he's learned how to speak English so long because he's been over here asking for demanding our money.
Me, like a new president, in 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Now this is so beautiful. And I want you to think about every vice president of the United States in your lifetime. Have you ever seen one show balls like this? And there's President Trump thinking, hey, so the political apprentice right there. Beautiful. And I like how they were backing each other up, President Trump and J.D. Vance.
Been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have.
I have been to.
Count once.
I've
been to
actually
Ukraine?
watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of
will
the United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems.
Oh.
Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you
Well, here
will
it
feel
goes.
it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You
Don't-
will not
you
have
gotta-
war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I was
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
Not playing cards.
Right now,
Oh, I
you don't
love
know
it.
you're playing
Serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What you're-
III.
what you're
You're
speaking
gambling
about?
with
What you're
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
what
of
you're
America
speaking about.
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Wow, oh, man, this is great. This is great. Now, what do you think is going to happen here? Do you, he was kicked out of the White House. I'll play the rest of this, and we'll get to that. They kicked Zelensky out of the White House. The president, the vice president, and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, they kicked him out. Right now, as we're talking, the White House staff are eating the lunch that they made in honor that they're supposed to be having with Zelensky. Do you think Zelensky will be allowed back in the White House to make a deal? Do you think that Zelensky is going to be removed from office, stepping down soon? What do you think is going to happen here?
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly.
I love
Your
it.
country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said
alone.
thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about you
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days,
That's right.
I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less. That's right.
In 2 weeks.
That's
Of
right.
course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of
accept
times
that
thank
there-
you
accept
to
that-
American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
That's right.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
That's
that
right.
was with, that was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yeah.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
That's right.
You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire?
What if Russia breaks ceasefire?
Peace talks. What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what
She's
if
asking, what if
Putin
Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom.
That's right.
It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom.
Ugh.
It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out.
There's more. I'll play more later. But, this has had to be done. Because, from the beginning of this war, okay, Biden refused to even take a phone call from Russia. And, back in the days of the Cold War, where they had that red phone in the White House, I don't even know if that's still there or operates, or if it's there and it's just on display like a museum piece. But, the purpose of a situation like this is to try to cool things down. And it's obvious he doesn't want peace. Europe doesn't want peace. I mean, look, right now, Europe, the European leaders are all releasing statements attacking our great President Trump. There are people dying over there. A lot of Ukrainians have died. They have no hope of defeating Russia. The only thing you could hope for with Russia is a multi-year, multi-decade stalemate. Okay, that Russia's not going to be defeated. It's a massive country, huge country. It has nuclear weapons, and they do have some allies. Okay, there's nothing there. It is hopeless for Ukraine to win this war. They've got to make a deal. President Trump, he wanted that mineral contract, and I guess maybe Zelensky thought he was going to get out of this. He was going to get what he wanted and not get that mineral contract, or not sign that mineral deal with President Trump. I'm not sure. He's pretty arrogant. But President Trump said, if we're there, with these minerals, and we've got American workers by the hundreds and the thousands over there, it'll stop Putin from coming in the future, because he's not going to want to move in and invade a country and kill Americans, because that would take things to another level against us, and he doesn't want that. So President Trump is offering him an opportunity to not only end the war, but to have a prolonged peace with Russia, and he obviously doesn't want it. Now look at this. This is right after the blow-up, Fox News.
Went up to the press area to get an understanding of what we're watching. This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelensky out of the White House.
Now this is beautiful. Zelensky is kind of like Greta Thunberg kind of type personality, very spoiled. All these European leaders suck up to him, tell him how great they are. Even in this country, for the 4 years of this senile old corrupt coot, Joe Biden's administration, they've been rolling out the red carpet for this guy like he's the greatest star in the world. And his ego, Zelensky's ego, has really gone to his head to a level I don't think people publicly realized how bad. And what President Trump did today with J.D. Vance, who is amazing, is we got to see what Zelensky is really like. He's a warmonger. He's a warmonger.
Went up to the press area to get an understanding of what we're watching. This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelensky out of the White House. His delegation right now is telling him that he's got to go home. The president felt...
Go home. So not just out of the White House, he's been told he's got to leave the United States. I guess he's got to fly back to Ukraine on our plane. I'm sure he flew over here on our plane. So Fox News is reporting kicked out of the White House by the president and has got to leave the country.
Disrespected. Officials in the room felt that beyond the language barrier that we've heard some discussion about, Zelensky's body language, shrugging and eye-rolling, was ungrateful, disrespectful, and the president feels that Zelensky is not ready for peace, and he can come back when he's ready to talk about peace, but he's not in that position right now, and Zelensky is being told he's got to go. The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway, and the press staffers are going to be eating that lunch.
The press and the press staffers, does that mean the staff from the press office or the or the press and the staff are eating the Ukrainian lunch?
This is really pretty incredible. We see the SUV,
hang on with us one
Zelensky's
moment.
SUV.
If you
There
look
he
to your
is.
left, you're going to see him. Let's watch.
Mr. President, is the deal off? President Zelensky, can you tell us what
Wow.
happened?
See, all these mistakes that Zelensky is making here. Zelensky is not Trump's equal. He's been elevated by all these military industrial complex backed crooks in our government and the governments of the world, and he's been led to believe that he is the equal. He is not. He's not. It is not a coincidence that this war in Ukraine began 5 minutes after the 20-year war ended in Afghanistan. The military-industrial complex controls our government. They control Europe, and they got to be fed. That war was ending, so they needed a new war, and then boom, this happens. And President Trump has been right. When he said that Zelensky, not Russia, started this war with Biden, he's right. Biden went out there and said that Putin could take some of Ukraine. He didn't say how much, but he said he could take some of it. So Biden gave Putin the green light. And Zelensky was pushing to join NATO when Putin said that would be considered an act of war. You can never let Ukraine in NATO. If they're in NATO, we would be duty-bound through that alliance to defend them if they were attacked by anyone. And they're going to be fighting with Russia forever. Now, this is the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. She's freaking out while this is going on. Look at her.
Because you get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Is she crying? Yeah, I don't know if she's crying or if she's just in a complete panic. Now, if you'd like to call in, I'd certainly like to hear your thoughts on what happened today. The number's toll free. It's pinned at the top of the live chat if you're watching live. 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, 888-465-2631. If Ukraine had a chance of defeating Russia, there'd be another situation. They're practically defeated now. President Trump tells us that outside of Kiev, the other cities in Ukraine are demolished, some of them worse than Gaza. And we got a lot of information that we haven't heard officially, and I think we heard it for the first time. And this may be classified information that President Trump just declassified, because President Trump and the vice president both said their troop strengths are low, they're having a difficult time even drafting people to go into the Ukrainian army, so they've got a lot of problems. And really, I know what they're going to say. Well, he's emboldened Putin. So what? This is not our business. We shouldn't be involved in this war. Okay? President Trump's trying to save Ukraine. He told this to Zelensky. He's trying to save Ukraine. And this guy, he thinks he's a rock star. That's just it. You may be thinking a little bit different right now.
Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened, but he didn't break him with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
No, we've not, Mr. President.
This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. No, we haven't seen it. I mean, this is history live being made. And I wanted to share this with you. This is, I believe, the most incredible question that's ever been asked. And this is Brian Glenn. You know Brian Glenn. Brian Glenn was for many, many years with Right Side Broadcasting, and he's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. And he asked Zelensky the question that I've been wondering about during this whole thing. I know you guys have too. Listen, this is Brian Glenn asking Zelensky this really a revealing question, and Zelensky loses it. loses his cool here.
Second
And my
question.
second question for President Zelensky. Do you ever, why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I don't
the
have
dignity of
such.
this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay, now I'm going to rewind that. He said, what Brian Glenn said, a lot of Americans have a problem with you not wearing a suit in the Oval Office. It's disrespectful. And then did you just hear what he said? Did he refer to what he's wearing as a costume? You know, the reason he wears this is he's trying to keep this illusion going that he's leading the Ukrainian army. And this is the same tactic that Castro used. He's even got the beard. He's just shorter. This is the same tactic that Castro used. Castro always wore the fatigues because he was always fighting the revolution. And he's wearing this, I don't know, bizarre uniform kind of thing. But let me rewind it and I'll play the rest of it. Brian Glenn, I mean, this was just a great question. If you're on hold, stand by.
Second
And
question.
my second question for President Zelensky. Do you ever, why don't you wear a suit?
Great question.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I
the
don't have
dignity of
such.
this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah. Thank you. Thank you for.
I mean, he just lost his cool there. I mean, he's totally out of it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, beautiful stuff.
I'm Joyce. I'm calling from North Carolina.
Oh, man, you proud of President
I
Trump?
wasn't Show, but I've been following this for a long time,
Yeah.
back when it started, and Lindsey Graham being over there supporting him fighting the war. No, and it was took down, that video I seen. And Lindsey Graham was over there in 2014 supporting the war.
That's right.
With Zelensky.
Yeah, but, you know,
But
Lindsey
nobody
Graham,
knows
Lindsey,
all what
Lindsey
they
Graham's
got.
another
A lot of
warmonger.
Americans don't know really what has happened.
No, they know. They know.
They never
They
looked
know.
into it.
Lindsey Graham's another one of those warmongers.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud of your show.
Well,
And,
thank you.
I was proud of them reporters today saying, why were you disrespectful to Trump? I was so proud of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, take care. I
I know,
appreciate the
I
I appreciate the call. Yeah, if you'd like to call in, it's toll free, no matter where you're watching. The number's pinned at the top of the live chat, 888-465-2631. Now, I know this sounds petty to a lot of people that maybe not have thought about it, about the suit, but no. When you're in the presence of the President of the United States, you wear a suit. When I went to Mar-a-Lago, I went out and bought a new suit, right? I have suits, but I went out and bought a new suit to meet President Trump in. And this is in the Oval Office. You do not go in the Oval Office and not wear a suit and tie. It's just out of respect. But Zelensky has no respect. He doesn't even respect his own people. So we'll find out. I mean, and what happened today was history on so many levels. And then after the president had J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio kick Zelensky out, he went to Truth Social and posted this. A statement from President Donald J. Trump. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. Okay, so what he's saying there is he feels like he's a big tough guy with the United States backing him. And he's saying that if we pull our support out, then he'll have to go to the peace table because Ukraine will collapse. President Trump goes on, I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America and its cherished Oval Office. He could come back when he is ready for peace. Oh my goodness. Never seen anything like this before. We're in a new place, and you know, there's never going to be another Trump. Obviously, we're never going to have another Trump. So we got to enjoy Trump while he's here. Although JD is going to be a great second MAGA president, as we could see, he's very smart and very tough, and he doesn't take any crap. Unlike Pence, okay, who was a traitor and a whole bunch of other things. But I'll tell you this. The American people, there's not an American. I'm not talking about these people that are on TV. Okay, the press and the Democrats and all these people. I'm talking about, and I got a clip I'm going to play for you in just a moment. That this is insane. I'm going to share with you in just a moment. There's not a real American who's not proud of the president of the United States right now. Okay, and what's happened here is President Trump, in moments like this, has changed the expectations that the American people have for our leaders. And our future politicians aren't going to be able to go on TV and talk like Lindsey Graham does all the time. People don't want to hear that crap anymore. Now, this is pretty disturbing. Listen to this. I want to play the audio. The microphone captured Zelensky calling J.D. Vance a suka, S-U-K-A, which is Russian for bitch. My wife just texted this to me, and I just posted it up here. So Zelensky called the vice president of the United States a bitch in Russian.
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people.
Here they got it. See there.
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people. You bring them on a propaganda tour. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people. You bring them on a propaganda tour.
Yeah, he said it again under his breath twice. He called him a bitch twice, and he did it in Russian. Don't they have a Ukrainian word for that? Oh my goodness. Do you think? I'm sure Trump knows about this by now. If I know about this, the president knows about it. Okay, he knows everything that's going on. Oh my goodness. So what should happen here? What should happen? Oh, Zelensky came empty-handed and left empty-handed. No, what we very well may have here is the second regime change brought to the world by our favorite president, Donald Trump. Right? We got regime change in Canada. Trudeau will be prime minister. They're having an election in October. He's out. And now this. I mean, what Zelensky has done is show that this bitch comment's going viral. Here's another clip of it. Somebody else. This is going viral. What he's done, he can't, and look how red he is. He can't deal with the president of the United States or Putin. It's just, he can't. What is he going to do? How can he have any negotiations when he's so angry at both? Listen, here it goes.
Watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people.
There it is. Wow, call them bitch twice. Here's another one. This is take it off.
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people. You bring them on a propaganda tour. I've actually.
Wow. I know a lot of people are saying that he's on. I don't know, but I do know this. He's unfit. He is unhinged. And, this is the thing. If Ukraine had any hope of winning against Russia and pushing them out, it'd be another discussion. But they don't. Okay, now hold on. Let's hear from Lindsey Graham here. Let's see.
So, what do I think? Complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine
8 or
9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelensky this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night.
Don't take the bait.
Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president.
Oh.
I was very proud of J.D. Vance.
Awesome.
Standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelensky do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know. What do you need to do, sir?
Well, he's on Trump's side. You know, the thing with Lindsey Graham, he always takes the side with the strong male that's in charge at that particular time. Like when John McCain was the big cheese, he was all with McCain. He was with Trump for a while in the first term. He just, you know, he swings like the you know how he goes.
Senator Graham. You saw lunch with President Trump. What did he say to you about his interactions and whether he thinks
he was shocked? He was very upbeat. I told Zelensky, we'll talk about security guarantees. We'll talk about ceasefires and how the war ends. This is a process. You have a new relationship with America, a $500 billion, $500 billion deal that President Trump is proud of, that gives us an interest worth defending. Let's talk about the positive.
The minerals deal.
He was terrible at Munich, Zelensky.
Yep.
And I think he has made it almost impossible to sell to the American people that he's a good investment, that he is a good business.
Hear that? A reporter said, Senator, are you calling for regime change in Ukraine? Boy, things have changed pretty quick, haven't they?
Possible to sell to
Listen,
the American people.
I just rewound it.
He's a good investment, that he is a good business.
Senator Graham. Senator, a number of European... Hey, one at a time. One at a time. Christian Daytop.
Who's this
Senator
guy?
Graham, thank you. Do you think President Zelensky needs to resign to resume these peace talks?
He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
There we go. We got the regime change has started. The regime change in Ukraine talk has already started. See, you know, I was telling you guys earlier this week that President Trump is putting together a new alliance. This NATO alliance does nothing but get us into wars, gets people killed. It costs us a heck of a lot of money. He's forming a new alliance. Brazil, Argentina, Russia, Poland, Hungary, Italy. A brand new alliance. Look at this, NBC reporting. The State Department has terminated U.S. support of Ukraine energy grid restoration. So we've been maintaining their electricity. We're done with that now. So where are they going to be? In the dark? Maybe. You know, it's certainly not going to get any more of it built. I mean, it takes a special kind of arrogance to do what Zelensky did today. You know, and I'm so glad that President Trump did this. You know, it was pretty healthy. And I'm sure that, boy, Joy Reid must be really freaking out. She's not on TV now. She can't talk about it. She's probably drunk, you know, like Kamala. Could you imagine if Donald Trump had not won this? And I don't mean just Kamala. If anyone had become president, look at Nikki Haley, warmonger Nikki Haley. They'd be kissing this guy's butt, Zelensky. They would be expanding the war. You know, President Trump said to him, you're playing around with things. You're playing around with World War III. You're playing around with World War III. You can't do that. When these things happen, you want to cool them off, not escalate. The United States has no vested interest in Ukraine. If Russia takes all of Ukraine, so be it. Who cares? Do you care? I don't care. Most people couldn't even find Ukraine on a map in this country that wasn't labeled prior to the war. And even now, a lot of people would have a hard time. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I live stream every morning. I'm a radio host and podcaster. And I'm here every morning, weekdays from 6 until 9 a.m. every day of the week. And I live stream all the time on the weekends and also upload my podcast to this channel. So if you're new, make sure that you subscribe. But I'm here to tell you this. You know, this hat says Make America Great Again. That's what we're talking about. You know, the left, with the Make America Great Again, they're always taking issue. Great again for who? For when? When America is in its rightful place as the leader of the free world. You know, they used to say that the president's the leader of the free world. Well, we saw that today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Sorry. Well, okay. You can take it that way. He is the leader of the free world, and he behaved like it today. All right? And we're going to see more of this. And you're going to see it every which way. And I'll tell you, these jokers at the Southern District of New York and at the FBI that have been holding on to those Epstein files and refused to give them to the Attorney General of the United States, look who's running the show right now. Do you think these guys are going to get something past him? This is what you want in a president. You want someone who's strong, that puts America first. And, you know, all these people that are saying, well, you know, you got to call Putin a dictator. You got to say that he started the war. Why? Why does any of that matter? You know, those kind of comments do nothing but prolong the war, not end it. Okay? And I'll tell you this. The longer that this continues, oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. We got breaking news here. We've got breaking news. Hold on. Oh boy. I tell you, President Trump is amazing. You know, so many wars have been fought for regime change, and President Trump's bringing regime change to the second country with a couple conversations and posted to social. Look at this. Breaking news. The Ukrainian member of parliament, I can't pronounce his name, Dubinsky, just called for an emergency session of Ukraine's parliament to initiate impeachment proceedings against Zelensky after the Oval Office shouting match. This is huge. Zelensky's regime is collapsing, and it's happening and collapsing in real time. So the Ukraine parliament is beginning impeachment discussions. Oh, boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Brian? This is AJ from Louisiana.
Hey, AJ. I'm doing great. America's back.
Oh, I agree. After I didn't see all of it due to work and stuff, but I saw, you know, what J.D. Vance said to Zelensky, and let me tell you what, he was spot on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what do you think? They told us that Zelensky called the Vice President of the United States, he called him a bitch in Russian.
I believe it.
That's right there.
Something said they translated it. It said that's Russian for
bitch.
But I don't know I don't speak Russian, so I'm.
Yeah, well, people that do translated it for us.
Yeah, yes, sir. I mean, but I was watching some of that, and it made me think about that. Do you remember when President Trump had that debate with Biden, and he said I couldn't understand what he's saying? And he brought out Biden's true colors.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like he did the same thing with Zelensky right there. See, if Zelensky was a real president, he'd be doing everything in his power to stop this fighting
and save his people's lives. He doesn't even care.
Exactly.
It's all.
If I was a president of that country, I'd be doing everything I can trying to put a stop to all that fighting and killing and destruction and stuff.
Well, I'll tell you. Now that they're talking, when you were calling in, you may have missed it because you were calling in, but the Ukrainian parliament, they've called an emergency session to begin impeachment of Zelensky. So it's likely that Zelensky is going to no longer be the president at some point. We may wake up tomorrow and he's fled to some country.
Well, I hope so, and I bet you 10-1, he's probably going to, if he flees his country, he's going to go with every cent Biden probably gave him that he can get his hands on.
If Trump lets him, you don't think Trump could seize that money from the bank accounts in Switzerland and the Caymans? Of course he could. He could stop it. They know where it's at.
Well, I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true. I'm guilty. I didn't think about that part.
All right. Hey, I appreciate the call, man.
Great call. You have a good day.
Makes a good point. Yeah. You know, when I'm live streaming and I'm in the studio, you can always call me. The number's toll free. It's pinned to the top of the live chat. It's toll free no matter where you're watching. 888-465-2631. Now here's another question. You know, President Trump, I always feel President Trump is best live on his feet, right? I mean, this, like with the debates in the first campaign and when we've seen him, And I already have seen people have made this comparison of when one of my favorite moments of Trump's first presidency was right here when he had that at the White House, when he had that live on-air spat with Schumer and Pelosi, and Pence sat there on his ass, didn't say a word. Here you got J.D. Vance. He's got the president's back. He stood up for the president. And you see how much President Trump respects J.D. Vance for doing that? He's got J.D. Vance. Remember, Zelensky says, "Oh, you're talking so loud. You think if you talk loud, you know?" And President Trump, he's not shouting. So here's the Zelensky calling Vice President J.D. Vance a bitch in Russian.
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr.
Wow. I mean, the level of disrespect, and that clip of him calling the Vice President of the United States a bitch is it's going viral. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing leaked out some of the financials of Zelensky. You know, what he owns, what he has, because the government knows. President Trump knows. It's, you know, he could go out and get President Trump's the kind of guy that would let Zelensky keep the money he's stolen to get this over with because it's cheaper. But what Zelensky did today, unless he's able to come back and sign whatever the president wants him to sign, President Trump's not going to let him keep his money, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And you got to wonder, all these European countries that are supporting Zelensky, it's not that they care about Zelensky, they want the money. Right? They're stealing the money like our people are. You know, NATO is their version of USAID. So when the money train stops that they're all stealing from in NATO, are they really going to want Zelensky in their country? So Zelensky may find it a lot of difficulty in finding a country that is going to take him. I would not be surprised if he has a hard time finding a country that'll take him. They may say so now. They're all coming out in support because what's happened in Europe is they're in a panic that the war's going to end. And what we found out, and I was talking about this a couple weeks ago, then I'm seeing people in the Trump administration talk about this. Europe doesn't have much of a military. They're outgunned and outmanned by Russia, even with the fighting that's been going on in Ukraine. They have very small militaries. The only thing in Europe that has any military is us. And we're supporting all of it financially. Trump is so fed up right now, the whole NATO alliance could collapse over this. And you know what? That's what he wants, I think, don't you? Well, listen, make sure you subscribe if you're new to my channel. If you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video. And if you could share the video on your socials, that'd be greatly appreciated too. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk.